Today I'd like to talk to you very briefly about our arch nemesis, water hemp. When you're growing soybeans, this is what you're looking for. A nice even stand with no competitive weeds growing out here. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is something you almost certainly do not want to see. A field of soybeans chock full of water hemp. Ancient texts from the decade 2000 theorized that water hemp can grow almost an inch a day in the heat of summer. It can have dozens upon dozens of growing points, making it very hard to kill. It is tolerant to numerous herbicide mode of actions, and a female plant is capable of producing up to 1 million seeds per plant. Yes, that's right, one of these plants. Not all of these plants, just one of them, and there is thousands of them out here right now, can result in 1 million water hemp seedlings in your soil seed bank that you will fight for years to come. Water hemp is also a dioecious plant, meaning there's male and female plants, resulting in cross-pollination and incredible genetic diversity, which is probably part of the reason it's become herbicide tolerant to multiple modes of action, and just getting random mutations that make it phenomenal out here in the fields. In a different world where we could grow this for a cash crop, we'd be best friends. We're not, though. We don't like water hemp at all. I'm not proud of this spot, however, it's not a chemical issue. Our field cultivators working wet ground this spring just didn't get a full kill on some of this water hemp. It either re-rooted or they didn't work enough to work out the roots, putting us in a pretty hairy scenario here where we're going to have to rely on post-emergent herbicide options that, although are effective with our new generation of traded soybeans that are tolerant to herbicides, it's not something you want to rely on. In the early days, we did a lot of this. You grab them, you throw them. You grab them, you throw them. You grab them, you throw them. Walking beans. I think some of you have probably done this before. Dad and I realized a few years into this battle that you're never catching up. Once you let water hemp win the battle of weed control, you are going to lose in the long term. It's not a one-year game, it's an every single season issue. Although this field is a very minor disaster for us, something we may have to actually walk the old-fashioned way, put some hours on our getaway sticks, operate a hoe, get some of this water hemp, not all hope is lost. And thanks to Syngenta, the sponsor of today's video, I'm going to tell you why. I'll be completely honest with you, even with the herbicides we have available to us today, when water hemp is this tall or taller, it is a little challenging to kill. It is an incredibly metabolically efficient plant, comparable to our newest genetics of field corn and how it can grow. It's got all those growth points that you have to actually get to terminate the plant, and it can just process chemicals in a way that our soybeans can't, challenging our options, especially here in a broadleaf field. The good news is that water hemp, the pesky devil, is actually not that hard to control before it emerges, before you can even see it, with the appropriate chemistries and residual products applied at or before planting time. Before it emerges, it's actually not that hard to stop this from happening. I started by showing you the bad. Now I ventured a little ways away from that field, closer to home, to a different farm. Look at that, clean as a whistle, thanks to a proper burn down / tillage pass, whatever you choose for your farm, and the application of Syngenta's Tendovo residual pre-emergent soybean herbicide. And this is a fairly high pressure farm. It's much smaller than the field we were at, but I've probably spent more hours per acre out here walking water hemp in my younger years than I have on that other farm, which is about 10 times the size of this one. If you're looking for a different option to fight water hemp from your farm, you want to start clean and stay clean with a powerful multiple mode of action, crop safe residual package. Tendovo is something to look at for 2025. One thing that really impresses me looking at these versus some of our other fields that are sprayed with a competitive product is how healthy these soybean plants look. I'm actually shocked compared to these other fields that there's really no visible herbicide metabolism issues going on. We see in other fields it happens a lot where, although it's keeping the water hemp down, it's also kind of dinging the soybeans a little bit in the process. As you guys know, every day matters for maximizing soybean yield, so that crop safety aspect is very big, and I'm actually extremely pleased with how Tendovo is not only holding the water hemp back, which is the most important part, it's doing so in a way that's also maximizing growth potential for these soybeans. I mean, they look fantastic out here. If only it worked on rabbits too, because they seem to do a lot of munching on our soybeans along these tree lines. One thing we're really guilty about on our farm, and I'm sure some of you guys are too, is that we don't want to spend too much money up front, but then when push comes to shove and we come back on our post-emergent pass, like the field I just showed you, it's more of emergency mode and we have to spend more money because we may have not done as great of a job up front as we should have, just because we're afraid to spend an extra $1 or $2 an acre. And then you got to spend an extra $20 an acre when you come back, and you're relying even more on post-emergence options. You can see that if you have the appropriate residual chemistries down, you will stop water hemp that you'll never see. Start clean, stay clean, apply crop safe, multiple mode of action residual herbicides that keep water hemp from ever emerging. It's the ones you don't see that make you not appreciate how effective a chemistry is. For the unaware, the 3 modes of action in Tendovo are first rate, Syncor, and Dole. I know that on their own, some of those may not be as impressive as you'd like, but it's the combination of the 3 with Syngenta's formulation as a premix makes it a crop safe and very effective residual product that I think you should at least try on your farm in 2025. I assume most of you are done planning for 2024, and this cannot be applied post-emergence. We are finally starting one off with clear skies and sunshine. A bit of a dew, a little bit of dense fog in areas for the sun to chew through, but it's going to be warm enough today. By an hour or 2 from now, you won't even have known that it ever happened. The cards on the table right now say that we should be mostly done planting around home if nothing terrible happens today, like a meteor or locust attack. I mean, you name it, 2024, it's possible. I've got some spraying to do once the ground dries off, some planting to do. Dad's got a few fields of corn. We've just patched this one together 100, 200 acres at a time when we get the chance between rain breaks for the last month. That field looks fairly dry already. Got to finish the field I'm planting first. Some sunshine wouldn't hurt. Maybe I'll go ahead and spray the field, then come back and start planting. I'd welcome some feedback from sprayer operators. If you're not spraying a burn down, I'm just applying a residual only product to hold back new weed growth. The field cultivators essentially are iron-based burn down. Are you better off spraying before you plant it after it's worked, or after you plant it? The issue with running this early in the morning is that sometimes that sprayer, even with the floater tires on, packs that ground down, and even with a good amount of downforce and nice sharp no-till coulters, that seed trench does not cut very well. Sometimes when you spray after you plant, you can see where you drove the sprayer because it packs down the seed the other way and has a hard time getting out of that crust. I really don't know what's optimum and what's not. Happy to see that no one has stolen our planter. Not that I was expecting it, but you never know. I'm not sure last night if the moisture came up in this spot or if this spot was just worked too wet to begin with, because this is plenty damp out here. I think this is an old oil well area here and then over there. This is a really productive farm. There used to be a lot of oil wells in this area though, and you kind of see where they were at one point in time. That on the hill worked up nice. Some of these low spots, even with sunshine today, they're not going to plant great, but they're going to get planted. I hate to say it. Got a load of the chemical. It is absolutely beautiful outside. Super sunny. It's hot. I got the windows down, cooling me off. I got the tanker to where I wanted to load at, and I had to go get the hay heap from that bin side over there. Probably 3/4 of a mile. I jogged 2/3 of the way. I worked up quite a sweat doing it. Believe it or not, I do occasionally enjoy a nice jog. I'm just not trained to do it in my work clothes with my pockets full of tools and trinkets and my boots on, so my heart rate got up there pretty quick. I've got the road blocked right now. Someone could get through if they wanted to. We own both sides of the road here, so I feel like if there's anywhere you can block it, it's where you're paying taxes on both sides. That time to start side dressing some of that second round of corn planted. That stuff looks good. You guys always parking your junk in the way. Let me get work done. Who would ever leave that there? Just wrapped up spraying 300 acres, which really not too bad, except for the fact that I smoked a power pole. I didn't hit it in the front, I didn't hit it in the back. I was trying to ring around it, and I hit it square on the outside, and you can see it kind of folded the tip of my boom up. Looks like all the plumbing's fine, so it's just not gonna look good. You hate to do that, but that's what happens when you farm around objects that don't move. I've never actually hit something square on the outside. Usually, you know, breakaways are pretty light. It just wrap around it. I hit it right there and it folded her in. Here's the current alignment of our operation. I'm here at the main farm. Dad and Jeff are up here planting this little field of corn. Katie's working corn stalks for me. There's the planter. We're gonna go from here to there after I take a bathroom and a quick lunch break. Need one of those. One more than the other. I know it sounds crazy to you non-farmers. A couple hours of sunshine has made a world of difference for how this field looks. I am 100% more confident in how this is going to plant now versus at 8 o'clock this morning or 9 o'clock last night. That sunshine is a miracle worker for preparing a seed bed. By the time these row units run over this stuff, it is going to be beautiful. Okay, that might be a little dramatic. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Except for that spot, it's always wet. We've only got a few acres remaining out here. Front side is all Pioneer 34A98s. You can see the stripes on the back. That is the 34A98 and the 35C76 side by side. So we'll get some really good yield data off of that. This is also extremely productive soil, assuming we get good emergence, because we're planting a little bit wet. Wake up, Chris, time to load. I'll be west of the cell tower. Just wait till I'm where I'm gonna stop. I dumped the planter at the last field, just loaded up with a full planter's worth Pioneer 31A73s, and while I was loading I also greased the seed tinter because it started screaming. The grease alarm was going off. Talk about multitasking. Chris going to get some more beans. Got 120 acres here. Get her knocked out, hopefully fast. Katie's across the road getting another field ready for me. Got about 150 acres west of the interstate that should plant, or at least it's going to plant. It may need replanted when I'm done. My grandpa's running off in the distance over there, my mom's dad. Everyone's making progress here today. We found some riders. 2 out of 3 members of the clan. The other one's off playing somewhere. Supervised, not here. Yeah, say hi. Hi. We just ran out of the Pioneer 31A73s. Now we're going to put some more of the Z series beans in the tank. We got a little trial with them as well. So I've got 2 different things going on here. Both sides of the tank are the new Pioneer 32 Z91, I believe is the number. One half of this is treated with a product called BioForge. It's basically a treatment additive that helps protect or supplement the plants against abiotic stresses. It should help them get out of the ground quicker, maybe give us better yield. So we're both going to get to see the new bean and also try this treatment out on some soybeans. So there's 2 trials going out here. That sunshine sure has been appreciated. Look at that dust. This stuff looked heavy this morning, and right now it's planting perfect. I'm excited to see the yield data from this field. The brown are the 31A73s around the outside in the first couple rounds. Then we've got the new 32Z series Pioneer beans. One side with BioForge, one side with just our regular treatment package. So, that'll be pretty neat. As long as this field doesn't get a ton of water, it's actually a pretty even display. If it does get a ton of water though, it's a swamp, so you're gonna have all sorts of pockets out here that don't have consistent yield data. It's another one done. We're gonna go get a drink of fuel real quick because my steed is getting thirsty, almost in the red. Top off the steed at the same time. You're not gonna find a more efficient battery charge than that. 200 plus gallons in the tank and some Pioneer 37A18s to go plant some more. I'd say I have a sensor issue. kicked me out before I crossed the overpass, and I slowed down, put it in park, and then did it and started again. It didn't do anything. And then did it going over the overpass, and I just rolled my way down and pulled into the entrance of the field I was headed to. Thank goodness I had momentum. Could be termination for the day, I don't know. We'll shut her down, cycle the battery, try it again. This is what I get for shutting it off when I fueled it up. I should have left it running. I was going to leave it run. I was like, well, there's no reason to just let it run. It's cooled off, but here we are. Be surprised if this is not still broken. Not like it's completely stopped, but it's kicking me out of gear and I can't really drive if that's the case. I didn't do it right away. Hopefully it's just a sensor, not that that's cheap and not actual hardware like the transmission. I didn't want to give you guys an update, and I still don't even want to mention it. Let's just say there's another field done. No loud beeping yet. We're just on a roll right now. Bill and Stan are planting corn there to the southwest. A lot of tractors running. Things are kind of getting wrapped up in certain spots. Dad just topped me off with beans. I'm gonna put the ends on this, and I think he's gonna come run it. And I'm gonna go spray my last field of soybean residual around home. Our shift is over. Dad's taken over this beast. Horrible farm to plant and harvest and spray and everything, rolling terrace ground. It sure is beautiful though. It's ironic how that works. Dad is off to the races, and we are headed to go spray our last 70 acres of residual chemistries soybeans. Sorry, I'm actually out of breath. Took all the rocks and scrap out of the truck, and then I knew there was a rock like 100 yards away. So I sprinted to it, and then while carrying this 20-pound rock, I don't know, I sprinted back, and that was quite the workout. I got in here to move this to Phil, and I left a protein shake in here a week ago, and I drank it all. It was just the container. I got a little trash bin. It didn't smell bad this morning, and I got in here after it's been almost 80 or 80 plus all day, and it honestly smelled like someone died in the cab, so I got rid of that pretty quick. I also had to do some wrenching on my boom where I pancaked it in. I just had to rotate the wet boom, the tubing backwards, so my nozzles would actually flow out. I'm gonna have to squeeze that boom and straighten it so that gap's open for the nozzle to shoot through, or figure something out. Definitely gonna do a lot of things other than replace it, because those are gotta be, that in section, 2-3 grand, I bet. There's the old March beans, still laughing at us as we scramble to get done before the end of May. Should have done more. I don't normally get to do a lot of spraying in the dark. First thing in the morning, the sun's up, and I'm usually planting in the evening. You really don't want to spray any kind of burn down or in-crop post herbicide while the sun is set, because a lot of them, if there's a dew that comes on, it can actually counteract the effect of it or wash it off in a way, dilute it before the plants can uptake it. It is actually fascinating how fast these Hagies are, and sprayers in general, and how little you can see out of these at night. I can hardly see the road in front of me between my minimal road lights on and all of my beacons. And also, I guess you can't forget the massive boom in front of you as you're driving. Crazy. Might as well fill it up tonight. I'm excited to be out of the cab. I would have rather hit a skunk in that thing than have whatever that rotten protein smell is in the cab. Maybe it'll be gone by tomorrow. The moon's almost as bright as the sun right now with how clear the skies are. It's been a beautiful couple of days. We got 2 more days before the next forecasted rain. We got a few fields holding us back from being done, ones that are just slow to dry, or they caught more rain from one of these sporadic showers. I'm hopeful that we'll get it all done, mostly by the end of tomorrow, if not Monday, which is 2 days from now. There's a lot of logistical things going on right now, from finishing up chemicals to tomorrow I might need to spray some burn down on a field we don't have planted. Need to get the skinny tires on, post-spray some corn, and got to finish planting the rest of our corn and beans. Doesn't sound like very much when you put it that way, does it? Anyways, I'm going to take off. I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!